October 2008, our national debt clock in New York went over $10 trillion for the first time in American history. Americans are constantly spending money and are constantly on the go. I chose this topic because I love to have money, and I also love to spend money. It doesn't really go hand in hand, and right now not too good with my money. According to the National Treasury in 2008, the national debt has doubled since 1998. We need to understand how our debt has doubled and why our debt has doubled. And I'm going to give you some information so we can understand how we can pull ourselves out of this debt in the future. First, we're going to look at how Americans have spent their money in the past, and then we're going to look into how Americans spend their money today and what we do with our time. And lastly, we're going to look at the pros and cons of being such consumers and how we constantly are on the go. This is a picture of the past. Americans were constantly working. They were with their family. You know, everybody, it was a traditional way of life. Everybody put money into the family to support each other. They didn't, do like we do today and were selfish. Everybody was family oriented. They, had family time, went to baseball games, spent money on their necessities rather than needs or wants. They, as everybody knows, we've all heard stories from our grandparents. I had it so tough. We struggled to get through tough times, and now today kids are like, well, I don't have an iPhone, so, it's a tough time for me. The traditional ways of life were, the man went to work, the wife stayed at home and took care of the kids, and the man brought home the money, and the sons, helped around the house, stuff like that. Let's examine my next point. The national debt, as you see right here, in the last 10 years, from 1998 to 2008, we went from $5 trillion to $10 trillion. Americans are also working more. We're going in 1948, 13% of Americans worked 49 plus hours. In 1979, 18% of Americans worked 49 plus hours. And in 1989, 24% of Americans worked 49 plus hours. So obviously, Americans are working more. We're also spending more. As you can see here, we went from spending $76,000 to spending $97,000, and that's on home and mortgage, which doesn't seem like that much for a house, but if you go across the board in America, it's obviously more. Went from spending $10,000 to $11,000 or $9,900. So yeah, that's not that much. It's only $1,000 more, but there's 30 people in the room, so that's $30,000. And education, obviously, we're spending more there as well. And credit cards, according to the American Bankers Association in October 2007, between 1980 and 2005, annual credit card spending went from $69 billion to $1.8 trillion. Obviously, you can't pay this money back. Kids nowadays are don't understand the value of a dollar. We're taking our parents' credit cards, just filling up your gas tank, paying for your clothes. If you want to go do something, you take your parents' card. Hey guys, let's all go eat, and your parents pay for it. Kids aren't using their own money, so they no longer understand the value of a dollar. Lastly, we will look at the pros and cons of being such large consumers. We get to go on vacation. We get to have these nice things, have an iPhone, have nice cars, do all these other things. But as you can see here, this is one of the cons, foreclosure. People are spending too much money, getting in over their head, and can't afford to pay their bills. They are, borrowing money, running up multiple credit cards, and before you know it, more college students today are in debt than ever before because they think that they're not going to be in debt from having one or two credit cards when they just keep swiping it, and then they aren't able to pay it off. In review, I've told you of how Americans have spent their money in the past and their time with their family. I've told you how Americans spend their time today, and I've also told you some of the pros and cons of being such large consumers.